Oh, Chobits. Chobits is the anime adaptation of a popular manga series by the same name, written by Clan. Chobits was directed by Morio Osaka of Studio Madhouse all the way back in 2003. Chobits is a romantic comedy with some really cool sci-fi aspects thrown in to give this show something that pulls it away from the slice of life genre. Chobits' sci-fi elements come from the inclusion of human form AI, or as they are known in the show, Persicoms, a topic which many anime have used and touched upon in the past. However, not too many have really used it as their main focus and plot tool before. Almost everything in this show centres around the existence of these Persicoms, but doesn't overdo it to the point where the show feels like that's all it's about. Something to note, Chobits was the very first non-action anime I ever watched and quickly became one of my very favourite anime series, and opened my eyes to the world of anime outside of shonen, which led me to watch shows such as Clanad, Welcome to the NHK and Beck, which are now some of my very favourite shows, and would also recommend this to anyone as their first non-action anime, that being due to its lightheartedness and also having a very comedic style that is very easily relatable to. So, with that said, let's start the review. While I did just mention this show is a sci-fi, it's time to put your nerdy glasses down because the plot to this story really isn't that complicated. The series centres around the life of Hideki Motosuwa, our main character, a held-back student attempting to qualify for university by studying at Sekai Prep School in Tokyo. Besides a girlfriend, he dreams of having a Persicom, an android used as a personal computer.
I'm going to be a freshman in college. At least, that's what I thought. I got rejected! I failed! I'm gonna be a bum for a year! That's it! I'm going to prep school! I'll study hard and make sure that I get into college next year! That's right. If I'm going to go, I'll go to Tokyo. Well, the college I want to go to is in Tokyo, right? Right? All right! I'm gonna go to Tokyo!
However, Hideki is your typical country bumpkin who has always lived and worked at the family farm, making him flat out broke, and not very adept to living in the big city. And well, Perscoms aren't exactly cheap, although everyone seems to be able to afford one.
Are you kidding? There's no way I could afford one!
It must be some kind of performance.
What a strange guy.
Well, it is spring.
Mommy, I'm scared. Just don't look him in the eye, dear.
However, one day on his way home, Hideki stumbles across a Persicom laying tied up in a pile of trash. I know, convenient, right? So Hideki takes this Persicom home, and after going through the embarrassing process of trying to turn her on.
I wonder how you turn it on. Shimbo said that they start up when you push the switch. Switch, 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 switch. Where's it at?
I see what you did there. Erotic humour. I like it. After finally managing to turn his Persicom on, Hideki discovers that instead of a computer who can complete all of his chores for him, and some other stuff.
It all? I want to get my own computer! I want to send email too! And more than anything, I want to see those internet porn sites!
He has himself a seemingly defective computer who can only utter a single solitary word.
Hey,
Chi?
is chi the only thing you can say?
Chi.
Well, I guess this was a Persicom that I found out in the garbage. I wonder if it's broken or messed up or something.
As the show progresses, we watch Hideki attempting to teach Chi words, concepts and appropriate behaviours, in between his crammed schedule at school and work. Couple this with the fact that Hideki himself isn't quite the brightest spark, and the fact that Chi copies everything Hideki does, as well as take everything he tells her literally, leads to some of the funniest moments in this show, and in anime in general. Some of the moments just had me wetting myself laughing, especially this moment right here.
A minute. Whenever people leave for a little while, you don't say chi to them. Say take care of yourself.
Chi.
Take care of yourself.
Take
take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
Right. So when someone's going out, you say, take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
I'm Hideki. You understand?
Hideki.
Right, Hideki.
Hideki.
That's right, Chi.
Hideki.
Oh, right.
Hideki.
That's right.
Hideki.
Oh, really?
Hideki. 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 Hideki.
No, that's not it. You got it all wrong.
During all of this, we learn more about the discarded Persicom, Chi, and that she may be one of the legendary Chobits series, and one of the most powerful Persicoms in the world, regardless of how she acts.
Hey, what are you... Yeah! Why am I getting so excited in the morning?
It is the mystery behind Chi that spearheads the main focus of the plot forward. However, Chobits has the tendency to take many sidetracks, which kind of put the main plot of the show on the side burner, making the show feel a lot less like a sci-fi and more like a slice of life. The show actually predominantly focuses on our main characters and their daily lives, as they both attempt to adapt to their new lives in the city, how they interact with one another, and how she slowly learns more and more about the world around her. While I do not feel this is a bad thing, it can make this show hard to explain to people and put into a certain category for them. The show can become rather intricate with the mystery involving Chi and the several subplots which usually revolve around the relationship with Persicoms. The only real issue I had with this show is how it pushes the plot to the side to give you these funny little side stories, and then the last 4 or 5 episodes throws the whole plot at you in your face and rushes you through it at the speed of light, expecting you to pick everything up as you go along. And while if you've read the manga or you've watched anime before, you may be able to pick it up, but if this is your first time, it can get a little bit confusing. The thing with the characters in Chobits is throughout the course of the show, there never's really one standout bad guy, and the cast is really made up of average people. However, that isn't to say that everyone in this show is particularly a good guy, as there are some characters with some rather shady intentions. Hideki himself, as before mentioned, is the epitome of a country bumpkin, and as so, has never really used a computer of any kind in his life, and only really has a passing notion of what they can do and how to use them. However, as the majority of the cast like to constantly remind him that he is a truly nice guy, along with being a virgin, he might not be the smartest of guys, but he always has his heart in the right place and surrounds himself with enough people for when that isn't enough. From his neighbour Shimbo to his co-workers, landlady, and even manages to recruit the help of a local child genius who just happens to build custom Persicoms in his spare time with his infinite money piles. Similarly, Chi is a character stuck in somewhat of a childish wonder, having no knowledge of pretty much anything. She has to constantly rely on Hideki to teach her about everything. In this way, the two main characters are very similar.
Let's see. Anything else?
While she starts out only being able to utter one single solitary word, as the show progresses, so does her speech and overall intelligence. However, she still seems to be stuck in the third person. However, it's the slow progress that helps to build her character into someone so lovable and adorable for both the audience and the other cast members of the show. The animation for Chobits was done by Studio Madhouse all the way back in 2003, around the same time when cell animation was being faded out. And for being 10 years old now, the animation holds up very nicely, even for today's standards. It didn't need to be immensely detailed like Monster, also done by Studio Madhouse, but it never seemed to take the lazy route like some other shows. They managed to pull off the more cartoony animation expressions, which made the comedy aspects of the show feel a lot more enjoyable, while being able to look more realistic and more detailed when the show got more serious. Let's start with where the show starts, with the ever addicting opening, Let Me Be With You, which will manage to wedge itself into your memory for the rest of time and will have you singing along every episode. One thing I really liked about the Chobits soundtrack is how it's able to take orchestral strings along with very casual and simple vocals and make a very addictive and easy listening backing music. And while the show's OST is very nice when the show is in its early upbeat stages, when the plot turns into overdrive, the OST is able to keep up perfectly, leading to one of my personal favourite backing tracks, simply titled Dark Cheese Theme. Just listen to it for a second. Chobits also comes with a very good dub, which was made by Genial back when they owned the series, and so has many of the common voice actors Genial would use back then, with stunning performances from Tony Oliver, Wendy Lee, Mona Marshall, Karen Strasman, and most importantly, Crispin Freeman and Michelle Ruff as Hideki and Chi. Oh, and Sandy Fox as Sumomo.
It's morning! Time for the wakey wakey exercises! Okay, raise your arms high up in the air!
Oh, the first time this happens, it's kind of cute and funny, but I swear to God it happens so many times that she easily becomes one of my most annoying characters very fast. The only problem other than Sumomo that I have with Chobits isn't so much a lack of focus, but more a lack of pacing. Although I love the happy and light storytelling of the first half of the show, I feel the anime could have done a lot better by slowly filtering in the main plot instead of dumping mountains of plot on you in the last 5 episodes, like the manga did. Due to that huge info dump right at the end, it could make it hard to follow what's going on. However, this is actually a way of telling the story I am fairly fond of in anime. It works in other shows like Samurai Champloo and Welcome to the NHK, where there is an overriding plot and everything else is more there just as filler to make the story feel like it's moving at a more realistic rate. There are some shows that try this method and fail miserably, and there are other shows that do it to perfection, like Cowboy Bebop for example. When you put together all the good parts from this show, like the characters, dub, animation and soundtrack, along with a very well crafted and subtle subplots, it heavily outweighs the small problems that I have with the show. With all of that aside, I have made separate scores for the topics of story, characters, animation, sound and my own personal enjoyment, added them together and divided them by the number of topics before mentioned, being 5. A method I will happily say I have stolen from GR Okada, who I believe in turn stole it from Holden Reviews. 2 guys you should check out by the way, and ended up with the end score of 8.5 out of 10. While I do recommend that you purchase this show, it is currently on Funimation's official YouTube channel, dubbed for the first 5 episodes and then subbed for the rest, and completely free. And with that, this is goodbye. Until next time, see you later chaps.